Bellator 249, the main event from Mohegan Sun, one of the greatest women's fighters of all time, Cris Cyborg, making her first defense of the Bellator title. Huge favorite, minus 1,200. Former pro boxer Arlene Blencowe getting a title shot after going 6-1 in her last 7 fights. Cyborg with the advantage in round 1, gets the takedown later in the round, landing punches and kicks from all angles. Cyborg putting together about a 20-piece combo in round number 2. Bloodies up Blencowe. Later in the round, Cyborg in top position submits Blencowe with the rear naked choke. Cris Cyborg successfully defending her Bellator featherweight championship for the first time. She picks up her 23rd career victory. Now has finished 19 of her 23 opponents. Cris Cyborg winning via second round submission. We now welcome in our combat sports expert, Luke Thomas. Luke, as expected, Cyborg comes out and absolutely dominates, finishing Blencowe by submission in the second round. What did you see from Cyborg tonight, and is there anyone that can give her a challenge not named Amanda Nunes?
So first things first, a bit of a new wrinkle. We knew she had a good ground game, but that can mean a lot of different things. Are you good at wrestling? Are you good at, positional control? What does it all really tell us? Tonight, she got her first ever submission win inside of MMA. All of her other victories had come by way of TKO or KO. So I'm not going to say exactly adding new wrinkles, but the late trend in her career has been a little bit more patient, a little bit more thoughtful. She's training with Andre Galvão and Cobrinha, which I'm sure your viewers may not know those two names, but trust me when I tell you, those are titans inside the jiu-jitsu world, and she is showing still some skill, I'll say refinement, at age 35. Now, the second part of your question was, who can challenge her? Candidly, not really anyone not named Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes and certainly Cyborg would make for a compelling rematch. I think it would be a little bit different the second time around if there was a way to make it happen. But inside the Bellator cage, I would expect Cyborg to dominate unless she makes some kind of grotesque error. Otherwise, she is miles, and I do mean miles, ahead of the competition.
Luke, what are the chances we see Cyborg in a boxing ring soon? We saw her use some boxing against the boxer in Blencowe tonight, and we know there are rumblings of Cyborg entering the boxing world.
I wouldn't say it's impossible. I would call it unlikely-ish. I mean, here's what I mean. We have seen Cyborg actually compete in some of the other composite sports that make up MMA, but that's not so hard to do. And frankly, that's somewhat common in both the men's and women's divisions to see rising and even established fighters take opportunities in grappling tournaments or even major ones when they have downtime or just to get some extra experience. Boxing's a little bit different, right? Because there has to be a promotional consideration in mind. How does it impact your ability to take your next MMA fight? So we know that the contract she has with Bellator does have a carve-out that allows for it. In that sense, the hurdle's not there. That's not exactly the same way you might see it in other organizations. Plus, as you indicated, she does have some boxing skills. In fact, she's friends with Clarissa Shields, maybe the most dominant female boxer alive. That's debatable, but certainly one of them. So she has some skills to compete. Does she have enough skills to compete against somebody and really win over there? That I don't necessarily see. But if we've seen any MMA boxing crossovers before, maybe the talent doesn't so much matter. More, it's just the clash of two different worlds.
All right, Luke, let's look forward a little bit. Coming up October 29th, Bellator 250. You have a welterweight champion in Douglas Lima moving up to middleweight to take on the middleweight champ, Gegard Mousasi. What can fans expect to see from these two fighters?
This is one of the best fights, frankly, in the entire month in all of combat sports. I mean, it's that good. In Gegard Mousasi, you have a guy who has been at the top of the mountain in MMA for a long time. And if he wasn't quite at the very top, he was very near the summit. He has been a perennial contender across multiple divisions, in multiple organizations, frankly, through multiple eras, honestly, of MMA. He is that good. And in Douglas Lima, he was a guy who had always been, let's say, respected and talented, but of late has absolutely absolutely come into his own, as you indicated, is in fact the welterweight champion and is daring to be great, moving up a division. Here you have a guy in Douglas Lima who is arguably, not necessarily definitively, but certainly arguably the best welterweight on earth. That is one of the most competitive divisions in all of MMA, taking on this guy at 185 pounds, who, by the way, has fought very well up a weight class at 205. They're going to meet sort of in the middle there. I would say it's much more the natural resting spot of Mousasi, who can do it all. There is no place to hide between either of these two. They can both wrestle. They both have excellent submission skills. They can thump. They have big power, great skills, and they're both hugely experienced against the best that MMA had to offer in their respective divisions. Obviously, the one key difference between them, Mousasi is just a lot bigger, and he fought Rory McDonald, another welterweight who wanted to go up to middleweight, and he got smoked as a consequence. Now, is that going to happen to Douglas Lima? I guess we'll have to see, but this is a hell of a fight. I can't wait.
Luke, that's great stuff. Great stuff as always, my man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.